Hi, my darlings. I hope you're well and having a fantastic day wherever you are. So today I want to talk to you about the four components that make up the human body. So we've got mind, body, soul, and energy. And so if I backtrack a little bit, in my younger years, I was quite often sick. I used to get a lot of infections. I used to get urine infections, sinusitis, colds, coughs, flus, like that. I had a really weak immune system. I also had more serious conditions, like I had a heart murmur, I had a serious spinal injury, I had a neck injury, I had alopecia at one point where my hair fell out, I had irritable bowel syndrome. I used to get like sharp pains in and around my body, especially around my sexual organs, and the list goes on. I never felt healthy. I never felt good and I never felt healthy. And I tried the conventional doctor's method. They used to always put me on antibiotics for the infections, for the back injury. They put me on diazepam, cocodamol, triazepine, I think it's called, or something like that. But they put me on really, really serious drugs, which made me very emotional and numbed my nervous system, so I couldn't feel the pain. And they made me feel really weird. I didn't feel like I was in my body. And at the same time, I wasn't healing. I wasn't feeling like anything was getting better. And so this happened, quite a lot with the medical problems that I have. I didn't feel like the medical system was helping me or, resolving the conditions that I had. One more example. I had quite a serious skin condition. So every time I'd get hot, if I'd exercise or if I'd be walking at a rapid pace or something like that, I would get around my forearms, I would get really blotchy skin and I would start to get a skin rash and my arms would swell up. And this started happening in other parts of my body as well, around my torso and around my legs. And at that point I had private healthcare and I went to see one of the top dermatologists in the UK. And I sat with him, I talked to him, and he put me through various tests over a good couple of months. And his end conclusion was, I'm really sorry, but I don't understand why you're having this problem and I don't know what's wrong with you. What we can do is we can put you on a course of antihistamine. That meant his solution was to put me on antihistamine for the rest of my life because he couldn't figure out why my body was erupting and reacting in a rash when I got hot. And so, all of these kind of led me up to thinking the medical system's not working for me. It's not doing it for me. It's not resolving the problems that I have. And so I started to look into alternative medicine. And also at that point, I'd experienced a lot of turbulence in my life, and so my emotions were a bit all over the place as well, and I wasn't feeling happy and healthy. And so I started to look at alternative medicine and I started to address the emotional part first, with looking at how to heal and how to feel better. I suppose I started dealing with my mental health first, and that then kind of just naturally led on to understanding that my physique wasn't a part of it and it was very much a part. And I came across Louise Hay, who I talk about all the time because I love her so much and she had such an amazing impact on my life. I read her book, You Can Heal Your Life. I must have read that book like 8-9 times and I still read it because it still has an amazing effect on me personally, and I learn something new every time. But basically she talks about how, for a lot of us, illnesses, in fact she used to say for all of us, but I'd put a caveat in there, but she would say a lot of illnesses are related to emotions. In fact, she even went as far as saying, when she was practicing in New York and she was seeing lots and lots of people, she said, fundamentally I could narrow down. She said, no matter what people came to me with, no matter what health problems they came to me, I could narrow it down to a lack of self-love. She said, like, it was either a lack of self-love for yourself, or it was something that was love orientated that was missing from you. So for example, if you were getting angry a lot, it's because you needed to go back in history and you needed to look at your life and you needed to perhaps forgive somebody because you were angry at them, and that is a lack of love. If you were suffering from I don't know, she says breast cancer. She talks about breast cancer, and she talks about breast cancer. A lot of people who get breast cancer can't put themselves first. They put everybody else first. And again, that's a lack of self-love for yourself. Now, I'm not doing this very much justice. I would highly recommend that you read the book, and I'll put a link in the bio. But at the back of the book, she's got a whole list of many medical conditions, pages and pages and pages. And then she's got a little excerpt of why these conditions happen, and then a set of affirmations to get over them. So the first things I started to do was to write down all the affirmations and all the conditions that I had, with a view to trying to recuperate and trying to really help myself. So yeah, that was a really pivotal thing. But if we go back to our 4 components, how I really healed and how I remain healthy and how on a day-to-day basis I look after myself was really by managing all of these 4. And when you manage them all together simultaneously, your body works to its absolute optimum capability. So the first thing I did was I looked at my mind, I looked at my thoughts, and I became the observer, and I was like, what am I thinking? And I discovered that a lot of the thoughts that I was thinking actively came out of trauma, came out of stress, came out of distress, and they were quite toxic thoughts. And as I was emitting these thoughts into the universe, guess what the universe was giving me back in return? So the first thing I had to do was really change my thinking. That took a lot. It wasn't an easy thing to do, but it took a lot. And it took a lot of unconditioning a lot of my family's ways of being, as well as my own preconceived ideas, limited beliefs, limited ideas. I basically dissected all of my thoughts and kind of said, look, how can I think better? How can I be more positive? How can I turn, sometimes when I'd observe myself and I'd think a bad thought, I'd think, okay, my darling, how can we change that? How can we move that to a positive thought, sorry? Or if I thought badly about somebody, again, I do the same and think, well, that's not very nice, my darling. That's not who you are. Let's change that. How can we change that to a positive thought? And I did this in a very loving, kind way, because Louise taught me never to criticize myself and to always love myself. So while I was going through these changes, I was extra loving and extra kind to myself. So that was mind. I managed to sort my head out because I became my own observer and really looked at what I was thinking about, what kind of thoughts I was having, and tried to change them to a more positive way of being. And having practiced that over years and years and years, it's now become unconscious competence in my head, where I naturally produce much more healthier thoughts than I used to. I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. And, there are times like when I'm having a menstruation, for example, I'm not in control. My hormones are not in control. I'm effing and blinding, or something else is happening if I'm in a bad mood, or I've just woken up the wrong way. But I very quickly recognize it and I come back into, but darling, we don't behave like that anymore. Are you okay? What's going on? And I come back to loving myself, and that normally sorts everything out. So that's body, that's mind. And then body is the second one. This is the later one that I really started working on. So I realized that I wasn't very healthy. I wasn't doing a lot of exercise, and I wasn't really conditioning or looking after my body in many different ways. So I really looked at my body and I dissected everything. How do I sleep? How much do I exercise? How do my muscles feel? What areas of my body feel tight, and why do they feel tight? What is my posture like? If I'm having pains in my neck and my back, that's probably because my posture's not correct. And again, I used a lot of Louise Hay's looking at the body to put together the puzzle of what was going on in my own body, and started to think about those things. I also started yoga from, I think in my late 20s, I started yoga. And yes, I haven't been consistent and it hasn't been, continual. But I do a lot more yoga, have done a lot more yoga in the last 20 years than I did, before that. And so that has really helped me. I also started doing things like Qigong and Tai Chi, which again are very beautiful ancient exercise methodologies. Oh, also the 5 Tibetan rites to really enhance and make my body strong and powerful. I also go hiking quite a lot and I do lots of power walks and started running as well. And so, excuse me, all of these things started to make my body feel stronger. And I saw a reel on Instagram actually a couple of weeks ago where a woman said, I'm sorry, I can't remember the source, but she said when you exercise, your muscles actually secrete happy hormones. I'd heard it from your head or from your neurological system, but I'd never heard that your muscles actually secrete happy hormones. But I can actually believe that and feel that because I know when I exercise, I just feel exuberant. I feel fantastic. I feel like I've done something really loving for myself. My body feels amazing. I feel a lot stronger. I feel like through continual exercise, I realized that I was feeling muscles in my body that I didn't even know were there because I'd led a bit of a sedentary life. In London, before I moved to Italy, I was working in an office job. And so I'd be sitting down for like 8 hours a day. And although I'd get up and have a little stretch, I was still quite sedentary and kind of doing an hour's exercise probably a couple of times a week, maybe 3-4 times a week or something, which isn't enough really. And so once I upped that really had a massive impact. My body started to feel so much better, and that had a knock-on effect on my mind because my mind started to feel a lot better as well. So that's those two. Sorry, just before I finish body, I looked at exercise, but I also looked at what I put into my body. So I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian all my life. It's my personal choice. I would never put that on somebody else, and I don't believe it's right to put that on somebody else. But I really, really enjoy eating fruits and vegetables. I like raw food. I like all different types of food. I love food. So I started looking at my eating habits and I started looking at what I eat, what's healthy, what's unhealthy. I tried to include more raw food in my diet. So that I could extract the vitamins and minerals in a much better way. I started looking at the way I cook and the condiments and the oils I use. So basically dissected everything and put together, tried to make improvements on every level. I'm not an extremist. I don't believe in going to extreme measures and following diets and things like that. I believe in making healthy adjustments. And so if I wanted a donut or a cake, which I often do, and I still do, I have a sweet tooth and I often want those things, I have them, but it's in moderation and it's in balance. Sometimes I go crazy, but again, I don't beat myself up. I tried to put loads of good stuff in, and then when I want some bad stuff, it's not so bad, it's not so terrible. If I want to eat some crisps and things like that, I do it, and I do it without guilt because I put loads of good stuff into my body as well. I also try different varieties of cooking, so I love steamed food. I love stir fries. I love things like lasagna, and I live in Italy, so I love things like pasta, and pizza here is really healthy. The base is really, really healthy. It's made from good quality flour and normally in a wood burn oven. And so pizzas are quite healthy here, They use really beautiful quality ingredients. And so, those are the sort of changes I went through with food. And I also looked at my mineral content, and I looked at herbs as well, because the herbs are so fantastic. So as a vegetarian, I made a list of all the minerals that I need and where to get those. And I made sure that I was incorporating some of those every day. For example, the B vitamins, much of them are in meat. So I kind of have Marmite, which is an equivalent of Vegemite. I don't know if you know it, but it's got a lot of complex B vitamins in there. And that really helps with that. So I really looked at that sort of thing to try and make we're here. I really tried to make my body stronger and better in every possible way, both by exercise and by watching what I was putting into my body. The third thing is soul, right? So my soul is the infinite part of me. It was alive. I believe this. You don't have to believe it, but this is what I believe. My soul was alive before I came here. When I die, my soul will live on. This is a beautiful vessel that is only with me for this lifetime. But my soul is the infinite part of me. And so I started to look at my soul again. Why was I having so much emotional pain? Why was I so upset? Why was I having all these health problems? And I started to meditate. I felt naturally that meditation was something that would really, really help me. I think I really just closed my eyes when I was in so much turbulence and just said, I need help, please help me. I don't know why I feel so bad. I feel really bad on a daily basis, help me. And somehow meditation appeared and came into my life, right? I didn't grow up with meditation. It's not something, well, I kind of did, but it was meditative prayer. It wasn't pure meditation. And so I started just to read some books on how to meditate and really understand from a basic perspective how and what to do with meditation. And I tried lots of different things. I tried guided meditations, non-guided meditations, etc. And I have a really, really active mind. And so my mind is like, oh my God, always thinking, analyzing and all of this. And so meditation was really, really good because it really helped me just come back into myself. And for me, meditation is not out there, it's in here. So I would go in and I learned about my chakras. I learned about my energy points, which I'll talk about in the next point. But I really learned things that would make me feel better on a soul level. And I started to read some ancient texts, both Indian and Buddhist and also Chinese, a few others about the soul and the soul's journey. And I started to piece together, okay, what's that about? And I developed my own understanding. And that really helped me and really helped me to understand my position, my ancestry, why I'm going through the certain things I'm going through in my life, what's mine, what belongs to other people, and just really, really helped me to feel wanted in this life and feel I have a position and feel I have a voice and feel I have something to give. Nick Williams has written a book called The Business You Were Born to Create. He's a wonderful person, an amazing person. And if you can find the book and read it, I highly recommend it. He basically says all of us has a soul mission and we are all here to bring a gift to society and for society to benefit from that, but at the same time, that discovering our gift and getting it out there is the very making of us. And it is the most beautiful, beautiful thing, the most beautiful idea and way of living. And so I really kind of gripped onto that. And henceforth, I'm an energy healer. I discovered my purpose in life, whereas I'd worked for 24 years in the corporate world as a recruiter in London, which was also an amazing experience and led me to where I am today. Nothing was wrong, but he really helped me hone in on my skills and discover why I'm here, and that helped my soul feel better. I wasn't feeling like I didn't belong or I didn't have a purpose or I was just working a corporate job for the sake of working it. I actually now feel very grounded and like I belong, and that I'm here to impart the things I've learned and to help people. So that really made me strong from a soul perspective, from a reason for being here perspective, okay? And then the last one is energy. So I grew up in a Sikh family. Chakras is mostly a Hindu orientated theory. The Kundalini Sikhs, they believe in chakras, but in the form of Sikhism that I was brought up in, chakras were never mentioned. So I didn't know anything about chakras. I didn't know anything about energy, nothing. I started studying it in my early 20s. In my early 20s, I started to understand chakras. I started to read books, watch videos, and understand and try to feel my own chakras and try to go into meditation. And it took me years. I couldn't feel anything for ages. I was kind of like, for example, for my heart chakra, I would focus my attention on my heart chakra, but I'd never actually feel anything for ages and ages and ages. It was only, I don't know, at one point it just kicked in. With lots of practice, it just kicked in and I began to feel my chakras. Now I understand every one of my chakras when they're out of balance. When I've done an energy healing, what's a problem with me and what's a problem with the client, I understand so much more because I studied it and I really wanted to understand this beautiful part that makes up me, you know. And also I studied, I looked at I suppose I had lots of downloads about the Chinese meridian points when you do acupuncture. And so I also looked into those and found that I naturally know a lot of the Chinese meridian points and the meridian lines, because when I do energy healings with clients and massages, they're the points that I use. So that's something really beautiful. So I learned about chakras, and I learned how to balance my chakras, and I spent lots and lots of time. So one night, for example, I would put on an 8-hour root chakra balancing video on YouTube or something, and I would just leave it on in the background, and I would just let my body heal and relax to this beautiful healing music. Or I would maybe do some guided meditations and find out a little bit more about where my where my root chakra was blocked or what the blockage is. Again, you know, I can't really sit here and tell you lots and lots of information. It's a journey that you kind of have to take yourself. So I took my journey and I understood what were the problems in my body, where they came from, why I was having these problems, and what I could do to heal myself. And oh my God, once I had balanced mind, body, soul, and energy, that was a game changer. It was a game changer. So today, on a daily basis, I work to balance these four. I feel happy. I feel healthy. I'm going through the menopause at the moment, and I'm like, and what? You know, I seem to be absolutely fine. I'm having lots and lots of symptoms, but I'm not freaked out about it. I just feel really, really happy, really healthy, and really good in myself. And so I guess this video is about really telling you that the pharmaceutical industry wasn't a road for me. It wasn't the correct road for me. My road was to discover my mind, body, soul, and energy, investigate all of those, at the same time build a deeper relationship with myself and get to know myself on a much, much better level and heal myself intrinsically, which is exactly what I did. And I healed all of my conditions. I very rarely get sick. I've lived in Italy for 5.5 years now, and I wasn't even registered with a doctor until last week, where I had to go and get some tests for the menopause. But outside of that, I don't use the medical system. I don't use pharmaceutical drugs. I don't do any of that. And I'm a healthy human being. So I just wanted to tell you my story and what's happened with me and how I've done it. I'm not pushing my agenda onto you. I'm here just to share information. It's up to you what you do with your body. And yes, if you get sick and you get an infection and you want to take antibiotics, then by all means, go ahead and do that. You know, I'm never going to sit there and tell you off. But at the same time, I do want to share my story so that I can give you alternatives, so that you know that there are alternatives and there are other ways. I'm a living, breathing person, human being, who has really not taken any pharmaceutical medication for years and years and years. And I'm really healthy, really healthy. My immune system is bang on, you know. I'm happy and healthy in every way. So I hope you can take some information away from this. And I hope you can maybe just use this as an example to become closer to yourself and do the same sort of things that I did to really understand and know more about this beautiful vessel and, you know, the beautiful 4 parts of us that make you who you are. Okay. What else do I want to say? I think that's it. Let me know about you, you know, if you have had alternative medicines, or if you've benefited, sorry, from alternative techniques, alternative medicines, or something else like that. Let me know your stories. Let me know down below what happened. I think it's really amazing if we can share these stories with love and kindness, not with, you know, you should do this and you, no, you know, let's try and lead by example and say, I did this and this worked for me. How about you? You know, let's try it that way. All right, my darlings, I hope you have an amazing day, and I really look forward to seeing you on the next video, and be healthy, be happy, be kind, enjoy your lives. Lots of love, my darlings. Take care. Bye for now.